Thank you. That was great. Any questions?
I've got a comment just to make. I really want to just thank you, Anna and Adina, for the work and the presentation. I'm excited to see work that is not only NSF Infuse supported, but particularly coming out of the USDA NIFA. And I did want to just make the point that the RCN isn't exclusively or only about NSF Infuse projects, where we definitely encourage and are excited to see USDA supported, food, water, or other projects with stakeholder engagement, and DOE energy water projects and other stuff as well. So thank you. And also, I'm just really excited to see work that is really trying to look at and do something very constructive here about justice and equity issues. So thank you.
Thanks, Andy. I actually have a question. I'm going to get a reputation. And I also want to mention that the RCN has working groups, and a lot of those working groups are working on different manuscripts. And one of those working groups, some questions came up about, sort of the time period of stakeholder engagement, right? Both of our speakers so far have talked about the time commitment. And that time commitment often runs out past the time of the grant, right? So the money runs out, the time runs out. And that got me thinking about how we might build institutions so that stakeholders can continue to work on issues, even when the grant funds run out. And I wonder if you've thought about that for this project seems really important, as Andy said, for building justice issues into these transformations that are going to go on. Is there any possibility that this incredible stakeholder group will be able to outlive the grants?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much, Andy, for your comments, and thank you, Anna, for your question. It's really interesting because when we started having these informal one-on-one conversations with key leaders and folks working at NGOs, farm organizers, farmers themselves, we thought a lot about that, and we asked about what would be helpful in terms of this workshop series. And one of the things that we heard was, do not create a new coalition. We already have so many coalitions. And one of the issues that we have is that or one of the big problems is that all of these organizations are working in silos, and then we create coalitions, and then often the coalitions are also working in silos. And so they really wanted a space where they could interact with each other, interact with the issues, learn about the interview data, learned about what we had learned from talking to so many folks across the Midwest. And then, really have a space to collaborate and to think about how they could, establish new partnerships across the region with other organizations. And so I think as a result of this process, we have really thought about how Grasslands 2.0, how this grant, how this, network, and through this research, we're really, our role has really become being a convener and creating these spaces where organizations can really then take a lead to create the partnerships that are needed. And I think that is, their space and sort of their where their expertise is most it shines through is trying to figure out, okay, what is really going to be most helpful. We don't want to just create another working group that, meets every month or every couple of weeks, but we continue to have the same, silos. So.
That's an incredibly interesting insight. Like, we don't need another organization or institution that becomes this beast that has to be fed. We just need a space to collaborate and break down the, that's such a great insight. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Our next speaker is Intro-Barron from Western New England University.